I'm just angry. I'm 7 years old. Angry.
I am still angry, and I'll continue doing whatever it takes to get rid of this regime. We're in danger. This is the worst danger the U.S. has ever been in, I believe, and we have to vote our way out of it.
I hate the racism in this country. I hate how people are treated. Okay? And so I'm wondering, why would somebody with brown skin support this man? And that was my question. And she immediately started screaming racist and came in with her face right up to me, just screaming at the top of her voice. And my response was to push her away, and I put my hand to her chin, and I pushed on her shoulder. When we have Nazis and racism becoming the predominant thing, turning people against each other, that to me is criminal, and somebody has to stand up.
I'm ready to see inflation go down to 0. I'm ready for... And I'm ready to go to Greenland and have a nice hotel stay.
They don't want you.
Bro said he's ready to go to Greenland and stay at a Trump hotel. My guy, you understand they don't want you there, right? Like Greenland literally told America to kick rocks, and this dude's already packing his bags. This is what happens when you live in the Fox News cinematic universe. You start thinking every country is just waiting for American tourists to come colonize them. Greenland's out here like we're good fam. We got glaciers and peace and quiet. And MAGA's like, nah, let me bring my drama and my red hat up there. The delusion is astronomical at this point.
They don't want you there, bro.
A future Trump tower that gets built there. I'm ready for that.
Yeah, you know Greenland is like negative. Do you think teachers should be paid more?
No.
Why?
There shouldn't be a public education system.
Bro, what?
What the no, you pushing me for no what the fuck? You go. No, you come to America and do that. You go. No, it's a free country, you know? It's fine, don't take that excuses. Motherfucker. Piece of over. Get out of here! It's a game! It's a football! This is a game! This is a soccer game!
If there was no other policies that I agreed with, I would vote for Trump because he says drill, baby, drill.
Can I tell you something? We are drilling more. We are taking more oil and natural gas out of the United States now than we ever have in our history.
Trump is for drilling. He always says drill, baby, drill. He wants to be America energy dominant. And I've said that for years.
I love when they hit him with the facts and he just blue screens. She literally told him we're drilling more under Biden than ever in American history. And homeboy just goes, I don't know, like his brain couldn't process reality. This is what propaganda does to people. They've been told drill, baby, drill so many times they think Biden shut down every oil rig personally. Meanwhile, America is pumping more oil and gas than any point in history. But facts don't care about their feelings. Apparently only works one direction. The cognitive dissonance is doing backflips in this man's head right now.
Years, the United States should be completely self-sufficient.
But under the Biden administration, we're taking more gas out of the ground than ever in our history, right?
I don't know.
That is. But
why are you voting Camel?
I'm very confident she will take this country in the correct direction.
Even though Trump already did in his first term?
That's just not true.
How do you know? You were like 12 when you got elected. You don't know anything.
I was far more educated than you were, clearly, when he was president.
You were far more educated than me. You can go band for band right now.
Band
because
for band?
money and smarts go hand in hand.
I disagree.
You don't think so?
I mean, daddy's money.
My dad's not even alive, so.
Well, I'm sorry.
It's too far. You already stand on that business. You're making fun of my dad. Stand on that business. Stand on it.
Pointing out the left hypocrisy is my task, and I love doing it. And you're just another victim. Say Obama was a bigot.
He's an amazing.
I'm recording this. I'd love to get you on.
All right, I'm going to speak directly to the camera right now. I love that there's nothing that conservatives hate more than Barack Obama. I love it. I love how
answer questions.
Rent-free in your mind. I love how you wake up every single day hating the fact that for 8 straight years he put the Republican Party flat on its back and there was nothing you could do about it. I love it. And I love that every single year you hate the fact that he slayed the shit out of you guys. You guys raised billions of dollars. You campaigned relentlessly. You block walked, you went to fundraisers, you knocked on doors, and he kept you flat on your back for 8 straight years. And there's nothing you can...
This man Isaiah is speaking directly into the camera and cooking these conservatives with a smile on his face. 8 straight years, 8. And Republicans couldn't do a single thing about it. They raised billions of dollars, they knocked on doors, they block walked. And Obama just kept winning and kept them down. You can see the conservative recording this getting more and more heated, because deep down he knows it's true. That's the thing about Obama that drives them absolutely insane. He didn't just beat them, he made it look easy, and now they have to live with that for the rest of their lives. No wonder they blame him for everything, including stuff that happened before he was even president.
Do about it. Did you record that? Now why don't you post that? Post that. Please post that. I really do. And a matter of fact, you post that, I'll repost it. You got your video?
You stop talking. You ever stop talking?
You got your video? Oh, look who's triggered now. Look who's triggered right now.
Donald Trump or Kamala Harris?
Donald Trump.
I thought you were going to say Kamala because you said you're from Texas, obviously, right?
But why would you think I would vote for her?
Well, because I thought people from Texas had a brain.
We do. That's why we're voting for Donald Trump.
I'd beg to differ about that, about the having a brain part. If you're going to vote for someone like Trump, who's clearly racist, sexist, senile, and all the above. And actually, if you do align with his views, then that also probably makes you the same way. But just by default, right? Legal immigrants aren't allowed in anymore because Trump doesn't want illegal immigrants in the country.
No,
I don't think everyone should just be able to just run right in the country.
I walk up to your table and just take all your stuff.
Well, you can't take my equipment, though. It's mine.
You can't come into my country because it's...
Well, it's not your country.
Sure it is.
You don't own the country. You're not the CEO of the country, right?
There isn't a CEO of the country.
But you said it's my country. What do you mean by my country?
Because yes, this is where you live. This is where I was born.
Is your last name America?
The country is the people.
No, but you said it's my country. I run this shit. You said I run the country. I run the country. Like I run this shit. Well, you said you run this shit.
So you're putting words into people's mouth, which is wrong.
I'm not putting words into
people. You should not do that.
I'm just taking their words and expanding them a little bit.
You just make stuff up and you expect me to believe it just because you say it. It's true.
Pretty much everything I say is true.
Knicks fans are furious at Donald Trump after...
My man really said pretty much everything I say is true. That's not confidence, bro. That's delusion. He's out here interviewing people and just making up what they said in real time. She called it out perfectly. You just make stuff up and then believe it because you said it. This is the MAGA debate strategy in a nutshell. Create a straw man, attack the straw man, declare victory. Meanwhile, the actual person is standing there like I never said that. And he's like, doesn't matter. I expanded your words a little bit. Expanded. That's a wild way to say. I completely fabricated what you meant. The audacity is genuinely impressive at this point.
MSG cancels all the watch parties around the stadium because the president is coming to watch the game tomorrow. So supposedly Donald Trump is supposed to be coming to the Knicks Game 3 tomorrow at Madison Square Garden, and now the Knicks have announced that no watch parties will be allowed around MSG because of how much Secret Service will be there. MSG also said they're not going to allow anyone to bring in any sort of bag, and you're going to need to get to MSG 2 hours early and treat it just like the airport, so you're going to need to go through extra security. There's a chance that a lot of people don't even make it to their seats because of how many people are going to be outside the arena. 2 hours early might not even be enough time. Now, according to this one reporter right here who apparently reports on the Knicks, he said that he is hearing no decision has been made yet either way when it comes to the watch party for Game 3. But it's being reported everywhere that the watch party right outside MSG, usually they have a DJ, they have a big TV set up. None of that is looking like it's going to be there because it'll be so close to MSG and the president will be there that the Secret Service won't take any chances.
So let me get this straight. Knicks fans who paid good money for tickets now gotta show up 2 hours early, can't bring any bags, might not even make it to their seats, and the watch party that everyone looks forward to is canceled. All because Trump decided he wanted to go to a basketball game. This is what happens when your president treats everything like a campaign rally. Regular people just trying to watch their team play get their whole experience ruined. And you know if this was any other president, MAGA would be screaming about government overreach. But since it's their guy, suddenly it's fine that thousands of fans get inconvenienced. The hypocrisy is always right there on the surface with these folks.
But being a conservative is bad, and the reason's right in the name. I'm going to make a series about this, but basically, conservatism seeks to defend the status quo and the aristocracy at all costs, which causes society to stop advancing and evolving. That's a problem.
We have some big news right now. Privately, Donald Trump told advisors that his mass deportation policies went too far. A new report from the Wall Street Journal suggests that Donald Trump, after speaking to Melania Trump, the First Lady, and others, he wanted to reduce the visible, quote, chaos that was associated with his mass deportation efforts over the first year. And this comes amid other reports that Republicans are being told to stay away from talking about mass deportations on the campaign trail because they think it's going to be toxic with voters. Now, this report has enraged a lot of folks in MAGA who say, we voted for this, we wanted this, and now you're trying to kind of move away from one of your marquee policies. And it's creating a major divide this morning between folks who want the mass deportations to proceed as scheduled. Meanwhile, privately, the White House knows that this mass deportation effort, per this report, is not good for them among the voters. And even Melania Trump said the term mass deportation turned off voters. And it seems like Trump wants to listen to her. But that's enraging some folks.
Hold up. So Trump is privately telling people his deportation policies went too far. The same policies his base has been cheering for. The same ones they voted for, specifically. And now Melania is saying the word nasty is turning off voters. MAGA voted for chaos and cruelty. And now the White House is like, oops, too much chaos. You can't campaign on mass deportations for years and then act surprised when it looks bad. This is the problem when your whole platform is just vibes and anger. Eventually reality catches up and you gotta govern. And governing requires more than just saying build the wall at rallies. Chickens are coming home to roost, and MAGA is big mad about it.
Folks in MAGA already. Spread the word, follow for more.
Republicans are trying to blame Obama for the Jeffrey Epstein sweetheart deal. You know, the one from 2008 when George W. Bush was still president.
But remember, there was a plea deal that was struck in 2009, way before I was in office, way before Trump was even considering to be in office, way before Pam Bondi was in office, way before Kash Patel was director. 2009, there was a sweetheart plea deal that was made underneath the Obama administration with Epstein, and that sweetheart has not been exposed.
No, it was 2000.
Oh, it's not? Well, when was the case heard?
It was 2008. It was the U.S. attorney at the time was a guy named Alex Acosta. He was a Bush appointee. He went on to become President Trump's Secretary of Labor. It all took place in 2008.
Who was in office at the time?
2008, George W. Bush.
Who was in office at the time?
George W. Bush.
No, 2009 is when the case came out, and it was and Obama was in office at the time.
It's not true. But let me ask you a question.
Sir, you're in Congress. I need you to open a history book or literally Google. Here's the deal. 2008, Epstein's deal was finalized. Prosecutor, Alex Acosta, appointed by Bush. President, George W. Bush.
The way he broke this down is beautiful. 2008, Bush was president. Alex Acosta was the prosecutor. Appointed by Bush. Obama wasn't even in the White House yet. But somehow Republicans are trying to blame Obama for the Epstein deal. This is next-level revisionist history. And the best part, Acosta later became Trump's labor secretary. So the guy who gave Epstein the sweetheart deal ended up working for Trump. But yeah, sure, blame Obama, who was still figuring out where the bathrooms were. The mental gymnastics required to believe this nonsense should be an Olympic sport. They'll blame Obama for the Great Depression next, and he wasn't even born yet.
Obama, he was barely unpacking his socks and figuring out where the bathroom was in the White House. But don't worry, Acosta later joined the Trump administration as labor secretary. You know, the guy Trump hired after the Epstein deal. So yeah, somehow Obama, in his final year as not president, traveled back in time, disguised himself as a Bush appointee, and cut Epstein a deal. Pretty soon they'll say Obama was behind Watergate and maybe the Great Depression too, because Republicans cannot explain to the American people why Donald Trump won't release those files.
Donald Trump's military parade, if you can even call it that, will be the humiliation that never ends, not only because of the tiny crowd size, not only because of the tens of millions of dollars wasted on it, but because even Republicans at this point are mocking Trump and he is losing his mind. We are going to get into the scathing takedown that has Trump furious over his failures. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button, because it goes a long way in supporting our channel, and we are so close to 1 million. Now, before we can get into Donald Trump's posting meltdown last night and Republicans mocking him for the parade, I want to start with a Democrat talking about a different and equally important, horrible use of our military. That was Adam Schiff breaking down what's happening in LA right now.
Help out during earthquakes and floods and fires. We have a very special bond of trust with the National Guard. And so to see it misused this way, to potentially erode that trust, we also venerate the Marines, but to call on them.
Adam Schiff is making such an important point here that people need to understand. The National Guard has a special relationship with American communities. They show up during earthquakes, floods, fires, natural disasters. People trust them because they're there when things go wrong. And now that trust is being eroded by using them for political theater, same with the Marines. You don't just call in Marines to add fuel to the fire. The military is supposed to protect Americans, not intimidate them. When you abuse that relationship for political points, you damage something that took decades to build. This is the long-term cost of this administration that people aren't talking about enough.
Marines, for no other reason, I think, than to add fuel to the fire is a terrible abuse of the military.
So, Senator, let me ask you a...
People on TikTok are having complete meltdowns over the presidential election. I've never seen anything like this, but quite literally all of Gen Z is in total disbelief that Trump won, and are going as far as to deny the entire election. A reoccurring comment on most of these videos is that something feels off, and that the votes just came out way too quickly. Typically with most presidential elections, it will take at least a few days to confirm the exact number of votes, especially if it's going to be a close call between the candidates. But pretty much within a few hours of the polls closing, Donald Trump started to take all of the swing states. This ended up causing a lot of skepticism with pretty much everyone online. Many are straight up saying that the race is not over and they're demanding a recount, and some are even saying that we should wait for all of the other states to get announced. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what Michigan, Nevada, Arizona, and Alaska vote. Even if they are all Democrat and they all voted for Kamala, it would not even get her close to 270, and Donald Trump is already way past that. And I guess a lot of people are now clowning on
Gen Z really thought the vibes would carry Kamala to victory, huh? Look, I get it. The polls were looking good. The energy was there. But politics isn't about TikTok views. It's about votes. And when those swing states started falling one by one, the denial phase kicked in immediately. Something feels off became the coping mechanism of the year. Here's the reality check nobody wants to hear. Sometimes your candidate loses and it's not a conspiracy. Sometimes the other side just got more people to show up. The election denial from the left is just as corny as when MAGA does it.
these girls that are posting videos of them crying, saying things like watching these videos makes me happy.
Jeff Jackson is losing everything after voting yes to the TikTok ban. So this guy, Jeff Jackson, used to be TikTok's favorite politician until he voted yes to the TikTok ban and then tried to make a video justifying his vote. Well, since that video, Jeff has lost over 100,000 of his followers, and it seems like every single person that previously supported Jeff has withdrawn their support, as there are now hundreds of videos from hundreds of different creators calling Jeff out for using TikTok to get a vote and turning his back on TikTok the first second that he got a chance to. Now, directly because of Jeff, many people on TikTok have said that they no longer trust any politician on TikTok. That is how much trust people put in this man that has completely failed them. Personally, I find it pretty hypocritical of Jeff to use TikTok as a tool to build his voter base, and then as soon as he's in, he tries to shut the door directly behind him so nobody else will be able to use TikTok in the same way that he did. Because as of right now, it really does not seem like TikTok has any interest in selling, and we all know that if TikTok does not sell, they will be banned. So deciding to vote yes is a yes to...
Jeff Jackson really thought he could play both sides and nobody would notice. My guy built his entire political brand on TikTok. Used it to connect with young voters, went viral constantly, became the cool politician. Then the second he got what he wanted, he voted to ban it. That's not politics, that's betrayal. You can't use a platform to build your career and then try to shut the door behind you. Over 100,000 followers gone, and honestly, he deserved to lose every single one. This is why young people don't trust politicians, because they pull stunts exactly like this. Jeff, if you're watching, the internet never forgets, bro. Never.
Banning TikTok regardless of what Jeff tries to say.
So think about this. We have the worst inflation in 4 decades, the worst collapse in real wages in 40 years, the worst crime wave since the 1990s, the worst border crisis in U.S. history. We have Joe Biden, who is the least popular president since Harry Truman, since presidential polling happened, and there wasn't a red wave. That is a searing indictment of the Republican Party. That is a searing indictment of the message that we have been sending to the voters. They looked at all of that and looked at the Republican alternative and said, no thanks. The Republican Party needs to do a really deep introspection look in the mirror right now, because this is an absolute disaster for the Republican Party, and we need to turn back.
Question, is this what people voted for? I've actually seen some video this weekend of Latinos who voted for Trump crying because now their abuelas and their tios are getting deported. Right. I'm having a very hard time mustering up any sympathy for those people. Yeah. And look, I'm an immigrant. I know the desperation that it takes to leave your country. Amongst immigrants in particular, There is no doubt.
Ana Navarro, cállate la boca. Shut it. There are no Trump supporters that are crying because of the vote. No one is doing it. No one. And if you're an immigrant that is in this country, you're okay. See, I don't understand in your little chicken brain or whatever kind of thing you have up there, they're talking about illegal immigrants being removed. Illegal. Your whole crew there keeps saying immigrants are being removed. No, illegal immigrants. How dumb and stupid are you all in that room? Like, this is real life, guys.
Bro really said in your little chicken brain, and I lost it. But here's where he's actually making a point that gets twisted constantly. There's a massive difference between legal and illegal immigration. And every time someone tries to have this conversation, one side pretends they can't hear the word illegal. Nobody serious is saying deport all immigrants. That would be insane and also impossible. The conversation is about people who didn't go through the proper process. But when you're so deep in the outrage machine, every nuance disappears and everything becomes an attack. Both sides do this, and it makes actual policy discussions basically impossible.
If Trump were to lose for the second time, what would you think the reset would have to be for Republicans?
I would say things would get so bad it'll be almost in a communist type of zone to where we may not even be able to farm anymore. We may have to sell our land before, it's completely controlled with all the regulations. He cut regulations, everything. I couldn't name one thing that's positive of Biden. And this is why we're in a mess. But I think one of the worst things, with agriculture and my business and everything else, when they opened up that border,
When you say they opened it up, what do you mean?
Well, we had it shut down. Trump had it regulated, and he was screening them. And now we're going to have bad stuff go on. They're infiltrating the country, feeding everybody for free, you see. Can't afford it. Like he says, they got to come in legally, not illegally. You get in illegally, you're going to have a mess, and I'm afraid it could be, this is why we have so much crime, and I can see where things could get bad down the road. If we don't get Trump back this next time,
This young woman is genuinely scared, and I actually feel for her. She's been told that without Trump, everything will collapse. Can't farm anymore, gotta sell the land, communism is coming. And when asked to name one positive thing from Biden, she just couldn't do it. That's not because there aren't any, it's because she's not allowed to see any. When your entire media diet is doom and gloom about the other side, you start believing the apocalypse is always one election away. This woman has probably worked hard her whole life, and instead of enjoying her time, she's terrified of imaginary communists. That's what constant fear-mongering does to people, and it's honestly sad to watch.
Really going to get bad.
If he were to lose again, what would you think the Republican Party has to do to reset?
Oh, boy, that's a big one. I don't know what they can do. Really, truly, they need to get rid of Democrat, Republican people. I don't care who you talk to. If they're Democrat, they won't listen to you.
The left is getting their money up, and Republicans are trying to fuck it up because they're broke and mad as fuck. This week, they hauled the CEO of Act Blue to Congress. Act Blue is a donation platform that powers Democratic campaigns. This year alone, they've raised $568 million from grassroots donors. Meanwhile, Win Red, the Republican fundraising platform, got nearly 7 times more FTC fraud complaints, and they never once had to explain how they prevent foreign donations. It seems hypocritical as fuck to me.
If we lose the majority of the Republicans, we lose the majority in the House, and this radical element of the Democratic Party we're able to take over, we've already seen that movie. They will try to end the Trump administration. He won't have 4 years, he'll have only 2, because they will move to impeach him probably on the first day of the new Congress in January 2027, and they will try to systematically unwind all the important reforms that we've done for the American people. So
don't threaten us with a good time. That's what we want. You're telling us that we can end Trump's administration after 2 years if we get out and vote during the midterms? He just made all the Democrats ads for them. Democrats, you don't even need to make any ads. Just play this shit. If you need any motivation to get up in the polls next fucking year for your midterms, Mike Johnson just told you best. You can end Trump's administration. You don't gotta wait 4 years for this shit to be over with. End it after 2.
Mike Johnson literally just made the best Democratic campaign ad for free. He told everyone if you vote in the midterms, you can end Trump's administration. Not in 4 years. Indeed to you. Democrats don't even need to create new messaging. Just play this clip. The Speaker of the House is out here telling people exactly how to beat them. This is what happens when you govern through fear. Eventually you say the quiet part loud. And the quiet part is they know they're vulnerable. They know their policies are unpopular. They know that if people actually show up to vote in the midterms, it's over. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate the motivation, my guy.
For 2 years, let's get them the fuck up out of here. The writing is on the wall. Donald Trump and the Republicans today are flailing. They don't know what to do. They thought that they were going to have a leg to stand back on by winning some elections yesterday so that they could feel like the American people were on their side. But the American people spoke. We are not putting up with this shit. Keep this momentum up going into midterms next year. Because like Mike Johnson just said, you can end this shit after 2 years. Mike Johnson's a fucking idiot. Donald Trump is a fucking idiot. Today has been a glorious day watching the Republicans fucking crying and flailing after losing so terribly last night.
The Trump administration's reaction to the Democrats sweeping the recent elections can be summed up in two nice little videos. The first is Mike Johnson saying that if the Democrats take the midterm elections next year and get the majority, Trump is not making it a full 4 years. And the second is Steve Bannon saying if they don't accelerate their plans, I assume Project 2025, before the midterms of next year, some people are going to jail. They are just admitting it now. A video from someone I follow explains it much better, so I'll tag them, but
Steve Bannon just admitted they need to accelerate their plans or people go to jail. Let that sink in for a second. He's not saying if we don't win, we lose. He's saying if we don't win, we get locked up. That's not the language of a legitimate political movement. That's the language of people who know they've done illegal things. When your backup plan involves prison time, maybe reconsider your choices. This is what they call terminal restlessness. The movement knows it's dying, so it's getting more aggressive, which means things might get worse before they get better. But the key word there is before they get better. Stay engaged, stay voting, because they're telling you they're scared.
Explain that this department and movement is entering terminal restlessness, which is they're recognizing the mortality of their movement and that it's coming to an end, but they're getting very aggressive and they're going to fight to the bitter end, which means this is going to get better, but it's got to get a little worse before it gets better. That being said, this is not the time to sit and watch it all burn. This is the time to participate. If you've never done anything else, this is the time to get in now, because momentum was started with those elections, and it was enough for them to outwardly start expressing their concerns and fear with complete disregard to the ramifications of what they're saying. Keep the momentum going, because things can get better.
POV High Takes, the God of mercy, the God of righteousness, the God of comedy.
Guys forget your red hats today?
Come on, man. Yeah, real fun.
Just checking.
We know. It's cold. Leave us alone.
All right.
We'll get.
Yo. Hey, I am not the type of person that will ever laugh at anyone's pain, but I just cannot help leave us alone. We're cold. We're freezing. Yo, MAGA, what's going on? I thought this was the golden era. I thought your boy was going to make y'all rich. I thought he was going to put y'all at the top of the food chain. I thought he was going to bring peace. I thought he was going to make y'all happy. I thought he was going to make y'all strong. I thought he was going to do all this thing, but he got y'all freezing and starving.
Leave us alone. We're cold. We're freezing. I'm sorry, but the irony is just too perfect. These are the people who said Trump would bring the golden era. He was going to make them rich, put them on top of the food chain, and now they're literally out here freezing and struggling. The thing that gets me is we tried to warn them. We said this wouldn't work out the way they thought, and they called us haters, said we had Trump derangement syndrome. Now they're cold and broke and asking to be left alone? Here's the thing, though. We didn't wish this on them. They voted for this. Their enemies didn't want this for them, but they wished it on everyone else. So you reap what you sow.
What? Oh, my God. Let me get myself together, y'all. But let's get serious. None of us wanted this. See, y'all didn't like us, y'all didn't agree with us, but we never wished that on y'all. That's why we went the other way when it came to the election, okay? The thing about this that makes it so crazy is that your enemies didn't wish that on y'all. The people y'all didn't like didn't wish that on y'all. But y'all wished this on everyone else. And as they say in the good book, you reap what you sow.
So we didn't learn. We didn't learn from last time. We didn't. So, we didn't learn. Comprehension. We didn't learn.
Republicans just got stunned as they got wiped out in a series of special elections, school board elections that took place on Tuesday. I'm talking about in Alaska, in Missouri, in ruby red areas of Wisconsin. I mean, we're talking about in Oklahoma, in ruby red areas.
Republicans just got absolutely washed in elections they should have won easily. We're talking Alaska, Missouri, Oklahoma, ruby red Wisconsin. These are places where being a Democrat used to be political suicide, and now Democrats are winning school boards and Supreme Court races by double digits. This is what happens when you go too extreme. Normal suburban voters who went for Trump are flipping blue. Because turns out most people don't actually want chaos. They want their kids to have good schools and their roads to be fixed. And when all you offer is culture war nonsense, eventually people get tired and vote for literally anyone else. Keep this energy going into midterms because the map is changing.
Areas we're seeing Democrats taking control of school boards, a big Democratic aligned win in Wisconsin in their Supreme Court race. Chris Taylor, the Democrat aligned candidate, winning big by like double digits, 20 points, almost 30 points, and winning in red suburban areas in Wisconsin that were big Trump districts that are now flipping blue that we haven't seen in decades. Massive Democratic overperformances in Georgia as Donald Trump's approval with independents is now lower than Nixon's approval with independence by a significant amount as of the time that Nixon resigned. So Nixon was more popular with independents than Donald Trump is right now. And Donald Trump's disastrous deal with Iran, getting us into this unlawful criminal war in Iran, only to enter a deal as well that's a total surrender and capitulation after all of this. I have a feeling that Donald Trump's poll numbers are going to get much, much worse. And just think about what this means for the midterms and the blue tsunami that may unfold. Let's just go through point by point as
Trump's approval with independents is now lower than Nixon's when Nixon resigned. Let me say that again so it sinks in. The guy who had to resign in disgrace over Watergate was more popular with independents than Trump is right now. That is absolutely devastating for any politician, because independents decide elections in this country. You can have your base fired up all you want, but if the middle of the country thinks you're worse than Nixon, you've got a massive problem heading into any election, and this Iran deal situation is only making it worse. The walls are closing in and the polling reflects it perfectly.
Zachary Danini explains, while national attention was focused on Iran, Democrats won big across the country last night. Wisconsin, a blowout Supreme Court.
Okay, I told you to clap. You guys aren't listening. I'm not going to grade you on a curve.
That's the sound of a cult falling apart, by the way. Generic blonde Fox News host number 67 asking people how they feel about the Epstein files at a Turning Point USA event, and they won't stop booing. Did you hear how uncomfortable she sounds? This is not at some liberal arts college that Republicans love to whine about. This is at a Turning Point USA event. You know, the stuff founded by Charlie Cuck. About as conservative and right-wing white rage foaming at the mouth as it gets, and they are still furious about the Epstein files being covered up by the Trump administration. See how uncomfortable she looked and sounded? That's because she knows that all of the hatred and white rage and blind, brainless fury that she's been fostering for her entire career at Fox News will be turned on her in an instant if she continues defending this nonsense. You guys were supposed to clap! See what happens when a conservative commentator is put in a situation that's not been scripted for them. Trump is begging people to shut up about the Epstein files, and is getting violently ratioed by his own supporters, because this is on Truth Social. These are all conservative environments and conservative platforms that these conservatives are getting roasted on by conservatives because of the ridiculousness of this cover-up. Much as people want to say, oh, they're all so brainwashed, they'll go along with it, the Trump cult have been conditioned to refer to Democrats and trans people and anyone they don't like as groomers and PDF files, etc. And now they're being faced with very clear implications that their goddaddy messiah is involved in that. In the simplest of terms, Allegedly. But remember that these mouth breathers did not vote for Republicans. They did not vote for Republican policies or ideas or philosophy or politics. They voted for Donald Trump. The name of Donald Trump is most likely in those files. Allegedly. And MAGA doesn't know what to do about that. Follow for more.